Listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. This is Mark Raymakers here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Thank you for taking time to join us this morning on our National Guardian Life webinar here. And with us, we have a special guest, John Enting. He's been hosting these with us now for a few years, and John brought us the product. He is one of the top producers for National Guardian Life, and there is no better person to have us help us with this particular webinar than John. So good morning, John. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning, Mark.
John is actually a producer himself, so he's taken time out of the field here this morning to help with this. So with that said, we'll have the question box open. If you have any questions, please just type those in the box and we'll go ahead and answer those at the appropriate time. So this is a recorded webinar. It gives you a chance to review it once we're done here this morning. Probably send that out if it's not yet this afternoon. It'll be on Monday of next week, and then we'll follow up with a phone call. We always like to spend a minute or two with you to answer any questions that you have and maybe get you out some of the marketing materials. But if you are in the insurance business, this product really is good for anybody. So keep that in mind. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to proceed with a couple of slides here. And these are just to tell you a little bit about what we can do for you, because I think it's important that when you establish a relationship with an IMO such as ourselves, that you know what you've got available. And we're real big on training, and you'll notice that the webinars are part of that. And one of the things we do is we host these different training academies where we bring you in, we pay for your meals, we pay for your lodging. And so what I'm going to do real quick here is I'm going to launch this out because we do have 3 of those coming up. We've got one May 17th through the 19th. We have one in September, and we have one in November. So all I'm asking you to do is, if you are interested in attending one of these 3 events, all I need you to do is to mark yes. We'll send you out an application. We will send you an agenda. The application is to try to find out a little bit more about you. And what happens then is, if maybe the one in May doesn't work, maybe September or November would be better. At least we have your contact information so we can send you a reminder as to when the next event is and to get you penciled in as an attendee. So what we do is we bring speakers in from across the country, and your co-host today, John Enting, is one of those. He will talk about the NGL product. He'll be available there for 3 days to answer any questions you may have and to help you introduce this to your senior clients. But we have a number of topics that we cover, from annuity sales to life sales. So anything that can help you market, anything that can help you get in front of more prospects, help you to close more deals, to look at hidden opportunities within your block of business, as well as when you're prospecting out there. We do some seminar training, just a lot of great stuff. We fly you out on Wednesday. So you'd be there late in the afternoon on Wednesday. We have a few short presentations that evening with with a dinner, and then we have a full day training on Thursday. Again, that includes all your meals. We do a half a day training on Friday, get you back on a plane. So the nice thing is you're home for the weekend. There's a few days that you're out of the office, but one of the things that I have learned in this business and speaking with successful people, that you never stop investing in yourself, and that's one of the best investments you can make, especially in this business. If you stop learning, you stop growing. And so again, I'd encourage you to mark yes, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get you an application and get you the agenda. So all right, well, it looks like we got a fairly decent response. Probably not quite as what I want to see. About half of you have voted in one way or another. So some of you on here probably have been on the webinars before. You're familiar with this. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to close this out. We're going to move on. If you have some additional interest, all you need to do is you can call our office, and anyone in marketing can get you an application and get you out the agenda as well. And with the DOL, we'll talk about some things that are happening there as well. So we want to make sure that you're educated, up to speed, and in the know of what's happening out there in the industry. So all right, I'm going to close this. We're going to go ahead and move on. What else do we do for you here? Well, we do a new producer bonus. So let's say you write $100,000 in trust premium, and John's going to tell you how to do that this morning. Or maybe it's $100,000 in annuities or single premium life, or it's a portion or a fraction of that for target traditional life premium. So for today's purposes, let's talk trust premium. So $100,000 in trust premium will get you a $750 cash bonus. Of course, it's in addition to your commissions. Or you can have a 2-year subscription to the website newsletter service. We can get you up and running on a website in 1 day. And you can call and talk to Josh. He can help you set that up here in our office. If you decide that maybe you want to buy into it as opposed to earning it, you can certainly do that as well. Or lastly, you can do the iPad. A lot of agents are moving to the iPad because there's the electronic application with so many carriers. You don't have to worry about having the right forms. It's all on the iPad. Maybe you want to wait to get to 300,000 level. I can understand why you might do that with our Social Security program. So we do a 3,000 piece mailing and postcard mailing. And there's also some training that's involved with that, but this is a great way to get in front of more seniors. Now, you don't make any money on the advising on the Social Security. It's the opportunity to get in front of them and overlook their portfolio. And a lot of new business is written based on that. And with today's baby boomers retiring, this is of great interest to them now. So it's a super program you can earn, or you could take the $2,000 matching marketing money to promote your business as well. Or finally, there's the $1,500 gift card. Maybe you want to just go out and splurge, buy yourself something for your office or what have you. But that's the second level. The last level is the 500,000, where you can take advantage of the 5,000 piece mailing and seminar coaching with Matt Gill. Matt would be at the training events we've got scheduled. He does a tremendous job in seminar selling. He qualifies for all the company trips. I think he qualifies for 4 or 5 a year. So does a great job. And then Dave Pimper's 4,000 piece mailing and seminar coaching. These gentlemen are both at the Academy. They both do a great job, qualify for all of our trips. Or you could finally choose the Ritz-Carlton Travel Rewards, make your own personal vacation getaway. And speaking of getaways, we have a top producers escape trip every year that we qualify for. Generally, you're looking at an 18-month qualification. And you can see at the very bottom of the screen here, the qualification started July 1st of last year, goes to December 31st of this year. So there's more than enough time to qualify yourself and a guest. We're having it at the Scottsdale, Arizona Boulders Resort and Spa, beautiful location. And if you look down here, kind of in the bluish area, you'll see the qualify with any combination, and that's anything you write with us, whether it's annuity, single premium life, trust, business, life target, med sup, long-term care. It all goes towards that particular trip that we have. So keep that in mind. And one thing I will make note of, and John will address this just briefly, is that you can actually qualify for 2 trips at the same time. So if you're writing business with NGL, you can qualify for their trip, and the same points that you're qualifying there will also go towards our top producers escape. So keep that in mind. All right, and so our creative services. Here's something else we do for you. If you're not, or if you don't have access to someone who's going to help you to brand yourself, or to help you with maybe just some online marketing, all the way up to television advertisements, we can help you with that. We've really come up with, and I'm going to kind of pat our guys on the back here in our creative department. They've come up with some beautiful pieces and really helped agents to brand themselves and bring themselves to the forefront by utilizing some of these services here. So if you don't have that available to you now, certainly would encourage you to call and ask for Jen, and she will direct you in the right location to get you some help there through the Creative Services Department. Now, IAMS has created their own wealth management. So we are an RIA, so we can help you with that side of your business. You know, there's a lot going on with the Department of Labor, and we can simplify things for you by allowing you to run all of your business through our office here. I have seen the comp grids. We are really looking good as far as the overall compensation. So maybe the benefits and services that you've seen so far you are not available to you. Maybe your compensation is not quite where you want it to be. I would strongly encourage you to call the number at the bottom here. You can see it's 888-255-7670 and ask for Charles Hiring Jr. And he can tell you about this new opportunity. We're really excited about it. We had our first training event here last week. And so jot that number down, give him a call, and he'll talk about the benefits and services that you can take advantage of here with IAMS Wealth Management. Okay, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn this over to John. So, John, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule here to help us this morning, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Mark, and good morning, everybody. A happy Easter weekend to everyone. First and foremost, again, like Mark said, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for taking some time out of your business to listen to what I have to say about NGL today. I always like to start out by letting you know that I am a producer. I've been in the business for 30 years, so I'm out in the field every week trying to grow my business. So I understand what it means to take that time away to get some training and learn about a new product, and hopefully you'll find this to be worth your while today and be able to implement it into your business to help you maybe create another revenue stream moving forward. So today, what we're going to cover is we're going to talk about the opportunity that exists with this product. We'll talk about the trust themselves that are used to hold the funding of the product. These trusts are free through National Guardian Life. We'll talk about the product that we use to fund the trust. And then I'll give you a couple presentation ideas and tools that we use in the field. And then we'll talk a little bit about the company itself and some of the value-added things that National Guardian Life does a terrific job on making sure that you, the agent, are well prepared when you're in the field to talk to clients about this product. So the first thing we'll do today is we'll talk about the opportunity. When this was brought to me, this has been about 13 years ago now, and I didn't know anything at all about National Guardian Life. I didn't know what a funeral trust even was, but I had a friend of mine that said, hey, you should take a look at this. Try to implement it into your business. It's a great revenue stream. So I like to dive into things, and so we learned about the product, and we started talking to our clients about it. Of course, like anything new at first, it was, it was a challenge. We had to talk to people and try to explain it to them. But today we feel we're very competent. We do a lot of business with National Guardian Life, and I'll share with you how you can take that opportunity and implement it into your business. We all know we're in the planning business. That's no big secret. And anything that gets done with planning. So what we do with our clients is we present the problem to them. We tell them what their options are so they can consider those options. Then we like to show them how to put the plan in place and then how to save to put that plan in place. What you're going to find out is with most of the clients you work with, the saving part isn't anything you have to worry about because they're going to have those funds already that you can talk to them about using to put into the funeral trust. So when you do your planning, I always tell agents that we work with that a lot of agents, especially if you're in the annuity business, you're always talking to clients about income planning. And they may or may not use income planning or the income plan down the road, depending on their circumstance. But one thing we know for sure is everybody's going to pass away. And so we have to have a plan, and for funeral and final expenses, things don't get any different. Someone's going to need to determine the services and pay the bills. And the question is, who's going to do it and when are they going to do it? Is it going to be your client, the deceased, prior to them passing away? Or will it be, like in my circumstances, the survivors afterwards? My mom and dad divorced when I was 2 years old, so I wasn't super close with my father. But my father passed away on January 21st of 2011. Again, I'm the youngest of five, but I've always been the businessman in the family, so everybody turns to me whenever there's issues. And I found myself sitting in a funeral director's office. And the funeral director was asking me questions like, what was your dad's mother's maiden name? What was his highest rank in the military? His favorite flower, his favorite hymn? And these were all questions that I didn't have answers to, but it made me quickly realize that what we do for our clients with this product has great value, because when you do a plan that I'm going to share with you with National Guardian Life, when your clients' children or spouse go into a funeral home, there's no decisions to be made. Everything is already taken care of, and they can just walk in and take care of the funeral services and do what they need to do, which is grieve for the loss of a family member. So NGL offers some choices on how you can get that paid for. The first is to plan and pay for the funeral. We call this pre-need. That's where they go into a funeral home and pick out their casket and the different things and prepay for that. Or they can pay for the anticipated expenses. In other words, set money aside today and have a plan in place so that when they do pass away, they can have everything in order just to go into the funeral home and at that point get everything taken care of as far as picking out a casket and having their final wishes taken care of. So a lot of our clients will ask us, well, John, how much does a funeral cost? And the average funeral is about $14,000. Again, I've been doing this plan for a long time, so I have usually 4 or 5 clients a year that pass away that own this plan. And we always ask their family, what was the cost of the funeral? And this number's pretty spot on. We've even heard this year upwards of $16,000 to get a funeral taken care of. And so one of the questions you can ask your clients is, if something happened to you yesterday, how would your funeral be paid for today? And the key to that question is you have to really listen to what their response is, because I'm going to share with you in a little while, based on their response, how you can take that and you can pivot that into giving them a solution today to make sure that all their affairs are in order and things are going to go exactly the way that they would like them to go when they pass away. We know this is a huge opportunity. They did a national survey. 72% of the people thought it was a good idea to pre-plan, but 64% had not taken any steps to do so. Now, we relate this to the fact that most people don't wake up in the morning and look at their spouse and say, hey, honey, it's 72 and sunny out. Why don't we go down and pick out our casket? That typically doesn't happen. So their intentions are good, but they don't follow through on getting it done. And your clients aren't any different. Again, I've been working in the senior market since 1993. I'm working with the same type of clients you are, and we do a lot of this product. So we know there's a good opportunity out there for you. It's just getting you positioned and confident enough that you can have that conversation with your clients. I think everyone's probably saw the numbers on the next slide. The market's huge. Over the next 20 years, 80 million people are going to file for Social Security benefits. So if you look at 2025 there, look at all the people. It's an unbelievable market. And by 2025, there's going to be almost twice as many seniors as there are today. So if you're in this market and you're in it for the long haul, you should be really excited, because you're not going to run out of prospects anytime in the near future. The one thing that we talk to our clients about that helps us make a lot of sales with National Guardian Life is we tell them that we give them the stats. 69% of all Americans older than 65 are going to need some type of nursing home care, and the national average cost of long-term care is $68,000 to $78,000 per year. The problem with this is 92% of all the people out there have no type of long-term care insurance in place. So, in other words, if they don't take care of that problem, what's going to happen is in the near future, if they were to get ill and go into a nursing home, they're going to have to try and qualify for Medicaid. And Medicaid, basically, everyone knows, is where you have to spend down all of your assets or basically go broke in order for the government to step in and pay for your nursing home cost. And what we'll tell our clients is the beautiful thing about National Guardian Life is this money is totally exempt from the Medicaid spend down process. So how does all this fit together? What we do is we take life insurance and then we blend it with an irrevocable funeral trust. So we're going to get the clients to set aside funds today that they know they're going to need for final expenses in the funeral. Again, everybody's going to pass away, so that's an easy conversation. And then by using the trust to hold those funeral expense assets, we're effectively spending down that money, and that can help prevent us from being counted as excess monies during the Medicaid process. So the trusts themselves, with National Guardian Life, you're going to have an irrevocable trust. So what we're going to do is we're going to basically sell them a life insurance policy. They're going to select the amount of money they want to put into that policy, and then we're going to assign it to the irrevocable trust. They get some benefits with that. The money is then protected from creditors. The money pays out 100% income tax free at death. The funds are available immediately. Now, what I mean by immediately is I just had a client pass away here about a month ago, and within 48 hours, the funds were from National Guardian Life over to the nursing home. A matter of fact, I just did a review with that client's children, and they told me it was one of the easiest processes that they had ever been through, and that they were about $100 short on the bill from the nursing or from the funeral home between what they had at National Guardian Life, and they said that the process was so easy for the funeral home just waived the $100 bill. They didn't even bill them the excess money. So the trusts are free with National Guardian Life. There's no cost to do the trust. Everyone is going to qualify to be able to put their policy into the trust. The death proceeds are going to be used for funeral expenses. Again, there's no probate involved. The money is over at the funeral home within 48 hours. And what's really important here is the funds are totally portable. And what I mean by that is if you go prepay with a funeral home in your local area, and then you decide you're going to move to Florida because your children have relocated there and you want to be near your grandchildren, you may have a problem if you pass away and now you want to be buried in Florida. With this plan, you can use it with any nursing home, or I'm sorry, any funeral home in the country. So those funds are always portable and can be used where you want to use them at. You're not locked into a particular spot. So how do they compare to traditional savings instruments? This next chart here will show you. I'll let you take just a second to look through that. But what we're looking at is we're bottom line people, and if you look at the Irrevocable Funeral Trust, we're going to get a yes in every one of those categories that are important when we're talking about putting the money away. So now we'll dig in a little bit to how the trust actually works. So what we're doing is we're asking a client to write a check to National Guardian Life, and I'll use a real life example. If they were to put $15,000 into the plan, it may get them a starting death benefit of, let's say, $15,250 as an example. And so what we're going to do is we're going to find the money. We're going to have them buy that plan. Once that plan is issued, 45 days after issue, the policy is going to get assigned to the Irrevocable Funeral Trust. It's going to be assigned a growth rate. That growth rate is going to allow the money to grow while it's sitting in the plan. The money will all grow 100% tax-free. And so when we need the money, what will happen is it will be paid to the funeral home. As an example, the client I was talking to you about that passed away a month ago, they called me, let me know their dad had passed away. I asked them what funeral home he was at. They told me. I called that funeral home. I got the fax number for the funeral home. I called National Guardian Life. I said, hey, I've had a client pass away. Here's their contract number. Here's the funeral home with the fax number. At that point, I was out of the transaction. National Guardian Life faxes the claim form to the funeral home. Of course, the funeral home's tickled to death to get the claim work back into them because within 48 hours, that money is at the funeral home. In the event that there is too much money in the plan, then any excess funds that weren't used for the funeral will get paid back to the estate. I will get a question on this. We do on every webinar, so I'll address it now. The reason for that is we've given up ownership of that money so that it couldn't be counted against us in a nursing home situation. So the funds have to be paid back to the estate. Again, if you've helped your client with their estate planning, to get that money back to them should be a real easy process, even if it goes to the estate of the insured. So there's two different trusts with National Guardian Life, and we'll spend a few minutes on this. There's the Funeral Expense Trust with National Guardian Life. I know we've got people on here. I see we have a lot of people this morning, so you're probably from all over the country. I'm going to talk about Ohio, and then we'll show you a chart of what your state might look like. But in Ohio, we're allowed to put up to $15,000 into the Funeral Expense Trust. And what that's going to do is it's going to give us the ability to exclude that money for Medicaid purposes when applying immediately. An example of that is if you have a client who maybe is getting ready to go into a nursing home, or maybe they have a spouse or a parent who is in the nursing home, you can still sell the person in the nursing home this product, and it will exclude that money immediately from the Medicaid spend down process. And then what will happen is the trust will pay the funeral cost, and again, any excess funds left will go to the estate of the insured. Now, National Guardian Life also has an estate planning trust. You can put up to $100,000 into this trust. If you do a funeral trust for somebody and you do an estate planning trust, the combined total amount can only be $100,000. So as an example, if I did a funeral trust for a client for 15 and then they said, hey, we want to fund an estate planning trust, I could put 85 in there. So it gives us the ability to exclude the asset in order to qualify for Medicaid after a 5-year look back period. So we're going to put the money in the trust. After that money sat in there for 5 years, then it cannot be touched by a nursing home. Clients love this. If you were to ask your client the question, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, do you have any money that you know you're probably going to leave to your family unless you had a health care emergency that you would like to know is protected in 5 years from now and could never be spent in a nursing home? Would you like to learn about that? You would be surprised how many people will tell you yes. And then if you were only using the estate planning trust, so say you didn't use the funeral expense trust, you just put $100,000 in the estate planning trust, the same process would work. The first money to come out would pay for the funeral, but any excess funds would be returned to a designated beneficiary, so it would not go through the probate process. The next question I get from advisors is, well, when do I use which trust? So the funeral expense trust, we like to use this for crisis planning. If we have a spouse or parents that are in the nursing home, we know that we can get money protected immediately. So we'll fully fund the funeral expense trust in that situation. Maybe you have clients who are at home now and they're receiving care, but it looks like they're going to go on Medicaid within the next 5 years. You would certainly want to max fund the funeral expense trust to protect that money. And then sometimes you'll get a client that just says, hey, I'm not in crisis. I'm not going to need Medicaid in 5 years. I just want to know that my funeral expenses are taken care of and that my family doesn't have to worry about that when the time comes. We can certainly put the money in there and give them the assurance that that money is protected right now. Now with the estate planning trust, this would be for a client where Medicaid is a non-issue. I always use the example of a couple teachers I worked with. They were never going to buy long-term care insurance. They were both in perfect health. They were in their low 60s. They had a lot of money in savings, and they just said, hey, we want to put $100,000 on each one of us into a trust so that we know if everything else goes to hell in a handbasket, that our kids are at least going to get this $200,000. So we were able to help them do that, and they wanted to transfer that limited amount of wealth to their children. It's also good if you have someone who's going to leave money to a charity, because leaving money to a charity is a great intention, but if you go into a nursing home and you have to spend down all of your assets, the reality is the charity probably won't receive that money, and this is where the real opportunity comes in. You can write some big cases with this estate planning trust. So the product itself, it's called the NGL AssetGuard. And it's a fixed rate product. So what we're going to do, again, we're going to put the money into this product. We're going to combine it with the funeral trust option or the estate planning trust option. It's going to give them an increasing death benefit due to the growth rate that will be attached to it. And we're going to give them secure financial protection for their final expense planning. Now, as I told you earlier, I see we have a lot of agents on here this morning, and there are some individual state limits. We're going to show you what those look like today. I will tell you, I would always encourage you to reach out to National Guardian Life just to make sure that everything is the way you see it here. In a state like Pennsylvania, you will find out that they do theirs by county. So it's always good to reach out to Pennsylvania. You can actually Google Funeral Expense Trust, Pennsylvania, counties, and it'll bring up a list of the counties and what you're allowed to put into the Funeral Expense Trust. So that just gives you an idea there based on what state you're in, how much you can put into the Funeral Expense Trust. The Estate Planning Trust, you're good on the 100,000. So you're able to put that in any state that you're in. So Mark, we can go ahead and go through the next page. Go ahead there. This is everything that the funeral trust is going to pay for. So you can see everything on there is covered under this trust. And the reason I point this out is a lot of people will go in and prepay at a funeral home, and funeral homes can only let you prepay fixed cost items. In other words, you're not going to be able to prepay for death certificates or for obituaries, things that they don't have any control on cost in the future. They're not going to let you prepay for that, but you can see here everything that would need to be taken care of for a traditional funeral. You can certainly do that with this plan. So for today, we're going to talk about the single pay. This is what we do in our business. You can write the single pay for anywhere from $500 to $100,000. You can give the client a growth rate of 2.25%. There's one health question on the application, and it's a yes or no question. Everyone's going to qualify regardless of how they answer that health question. Also, when you're talking to clients, 0 to 99 is the issue age. How many grandparents do you have out there who you could say to them, hey, you know what, I know this isn't an issue today, but why don't you go ahead and put $10,000 into a plan for your grandchild? And that grandchild, it's irrevocable, so they can't take the money back out. They're going to have that forever. It's going to grow with a growth rate, and one day they'll be very thankful because that plan's already done and in place for them. Obviously, you wouldn't need to put as much money in because you're going to have a longer growth period of time, but we can write it from 0 to 99. So the health question, again, is 1. If your client answers no, they're going to get a standard issue. If they answer yes, they're going to get a guarantee issue. Where you're going to see the difference is going to be in your commission. So it's going to increase daily with simple growth. All single pay are going to be immediate full death benefit. So if you put your client's money in there and unfortunately something happens in 6 months, they don't have to worry about any confusion of if the money's going to get paid to the funeral home. We're going to guarantee that's going to happen for them. So Mark, you can go ahead and go to the next one there, go to the other product features. It couldn't be easier to do. I've been in the annuity business since 1993. When I wrote my first annuity application, it was 3 pieces of paper, and the third page was the client's receipt. If many of you are in that business today, you understand that it's about a 30 to 35 page document now that you have to get completed. The thing about National Guardian Life, it's 2 pieces of paper and your state replacement form, and you're done. That's all the paperwork that's involved. So we'll take a look here at the next page on what that looks like. Here's the basic application. So it's just going to have their information, and then you're going to come down to their statement of health question. It's going to be yes or no. Then on the bottom of that page, you're going to have the client sign. So there's where they're going to sign off and you're going to sign off so that you have that part of the application done. The next page that you're going to have done with the client is going to be the receipt that you acknowledge payment, and you can give them a receipt if they're writing you a check and giving you cash that day. And then on the bottom of the assignment form, so here's where we're going to put the money into the funeral expense trust. They're signing that they understand that the policy they've just bought in 45 days is going to be assigned to this funeral expense trust, and that it is irrevocable. And I'm going to touch on that. We tell every one of our clients that this is irrevocable. We are putting this money in there for your final expenses. Don't call me and ask me to borrow on it. Don't call me and tell me you want to surrender it. Once you've put it in there, it's done. So it needs to be an asset that you understand you're never going to touch again, and that is only going to come out when somebody passes away. So real important to let them know that. Believe me, they're doing this for their final expenses. We've never had a client call us and tell us they want to take their money out. On the bottom of this application, if you're in a situation where you have somebody that's in a nursing home and maybe they're in the process getting ready to apply for Medicaid benefits because they've been spending their assets down, you can actually waive that 45-day window, and you can have the policy put into the trust at issue. So this is for somebody is trying to get immediately eligible for Medicaid. You're trying to protect what little money that they may have left. Again, they can sign this form and we can get that money in there immediately and waive that 45-day window. I had a client ask me one time, he said, why is that important? When you're applying for Medicaid, every day is important, and the sooner you can get the money off the books, the better job you're doing for the client. So when we're presenting this product to our clients, we're always talking about this on an annual review. I like to think I'm really good with this product, but like anything else, not everybody puts their money into the program. But whenever I'm doing an annual review with our clients and they haven't funded it, I'm always going to bring that back up to them and tell them that's the one part of the planning process that we haven't completed. So what I would tell you as a new agent, once you're contracted with National Guardian Life, when you go in and do an annual review with the client, the first thing you should say to them is, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, I'm sure you would agree I've done a very good job for you with all the advice I've given you. Obviously, they're going to tell you, yeah. Well, there's one thing that we haven't addressed that's really important, and we need to get that handled today, so we're going to have a conversation about it. So then you're going to present that funeral trust funding idea. You're going to stress the benefits of planning. You're going to tell them, hey, this could be used with any funeral home. If you go prepay down the road at the local funeral home and they either go out of business, they get bought, you don't like the new owners, you don't have to worry about being stuck there. You can take this to any funeral home. And then the big thing that I will tell you on this, where we see a lot of business come in from agents and also within our own business here, is 1035ing, exchanging existing life insurance. The gentleman that works for me just was in West Virginia about 2 weeks ago, and he called me and he said, hey, I just wanted to let you know I picked up $68,000 into the NGL product. He had ran into a husband and wife. The wife has dementia. She's getting ready to go in the nursing home. The dad had a life insurance policy. The daughter was at the meeting. The death benefit on the life insurance policy was about $75,000. The cash value was around $68,000. And we explained to him that you can leave that there, and if dad passes away, yeah, you'll get $75,000. But if mom goes in the nursing home and then dad goes in, they're going to make you spend all that cash in that life insurance policy. So what we did is we transferred it over to the estate planning trust to start that 5-year clock ticking. So whenever you see old policies where the cash value is approaching the death benefit, it's a great way to get that cash protected for the client. So I'd encourage you to be on the lookout for that. And then obviously the only way we get paid in this business is to close the sale. So you're going to give your client the peace of mind of not only knowing that they put the money aside, but we're going to show you a guide that we give them for them to complete so that all the information that's needed for the funeral that they want to happen is already put pen to paper, and it'll be there for their family when they need it. So where do we find the money? The money's everywhere. Again, if you ask the client, have you prepaid your funeral? That's a real simple question. We ask it, hey, have you prepaid your funeral? If they say no, then ask them, well, if something happened to you, how do you intend for your family to pay for it? You'll hear answers like, well, we have a CD down at the bank with $15,000 in it, and our daughter knows that that's where to get the money in the event we pass away. Well, you can show them how to get that off of what I call the countable side for a nursing home spend down and move it over to the non-countable side, which is putting it into an irrevocable trust. You'll hear these other answers from them. They have other life insurance. Again, we talked about the 1035 exchange. Maybe they have money in investments. You can help them to show them where it might be smart to liquidate enough to fund their funeral. So these are where we're going to find the money when we're asking them that question. And that's the nice thing. Like I said very early in the presentation, your clients have the money. You just need to show them the need and help motivate them to get their planning done. National Guardian Life does a great job with their brochures. The two that we use the most are going to be the one that's flanking the one in the middle. So we're going to use that state planning trust or the funeral trust brochure. It's a trifold brochure that is so written for the layman person that it can sell a deal for you on its own if you just get it into the hands of people. You can get these through National Guardian Life. Once you're licensed, they'll even brand them for you so that you can have your company information on the back. National Guardian Life has been around for over 100 years. Here's a little bit about them. $4.2 billion in assets. They paid $228 million in death benefits. They have a good rating by AM Best Company. They've paid over $180 million in commissions to agents, and they've been a solid mutual company since 1910. I will tell you, as just a personal advisor who's worked with them for 13 years, I don't know that I can tout any company that I've never had one issue, either getting business issued or getting a claim paid. In my opinion, they are one of the best out there at what they do. They're laser focused. They have a great support team. We'll look here on the next page. You'll see that they have a website for the agent. It's mynglic.com. Once you're licensed, you can go on there. You can do premiums two different ways. Hey, I have a client who wants to put $15,000. What death benefit will give them? Hey, I have a client who we want to max the face amount to $15,000. What premium do we need to do that? You can order your supplies, look up your policy, look at claims, great training and support, and also be able to order your brochures and pull your applications offline. So they're great at what they do. If you're in an appointment and you have a question, that support number at the bottom is invaluable. You'll get a live person and they can answer any questions that you have, and they're willing to be patient and take their time to help you get it done. So why sell the products? I showed you the survey. Your clients need it and they're thinking about it. They just haven't done it. It's a great income opportunity for you. The trusts are free, so there's no fees for the trust, and there's no professionals advising your clients. I've been doing this for 13 years. I ask all of our clients and new clients, hey, has anyone ever asked you about an irrevocable funeral trust to protect your money? I have never had one person tell me yes. So that means that you're going to probably be the only one advising your client. Again, the funds are portable. We're backed by a great company. Gives your clients the peace of mind. It's easy to do, 2 pieces of paper. If you were to write an application today and you were to submit that application to National Guardian Life, if it was a cash with app, those commissions are going to be in your account by next Tuesday or Wednesday. So their submission to commission is very effective. So great compensation. I just use this example of writing 2 couples each month and just doing $10,000 of premium on each one. So obviously, if you're in a state where you can do 15 and you do that, your commission will be more. But this can add $40,000 to your bottom line. I like to break everything down by month. You're talking about, adding about $3,400 in commission to your bottom line just by asking your clients a simple question: have you prepaid your funeral? Here's an idea of what the commissions look like. We're going to concentrate on that left top corner. So if you were to write a $0 to $60,000 premium plan, and let's say that your client, our average clients on this are going to run between usually 61 and 85. But if you look at a 61 to 65-year-old that's a standard issue, it's 13.31% commission. So if you picked up $30,000 in the house, that's a $4,000 commission household for you, and you've done a great job for the client. Once you're licensed with National Guardian Life, you'll get this full commission schedule, and IAMS is always there to answer any questions that you might have about it. So what are some of the I guess we should talk about this. So their sales conference is going to be at the Punta Cana Resort coming up in 2018. I've been on their sales conferences, and I can tell you it will always be top notch. You're around people who are doing what you're doing in order to qualify for this, and it's just a great reward for really just doing the right job for your clients and making a nice little revenue stream for your business as you go along. So some of the biggest challenges, obviously getting comfortable with the concept. When I first got in the annuity business, I sold my first annuity to a dry cleaner shop open in a town called Marion, Ohio. And the gentleman gave me $25,000 to put into an annuity. I couldn't believe someone would slide a check for $25,000 across the table to me. But I hardly knew anything about annuities. Now here we are today, it's 2017, we're a top annuity producing organization, and I believe I could probably teach classes on it. But it's just because I've gotten comfortable, I learned it and I presented it time and time again. All we're going to do in presenting it is we're going to stress those benefits of planning ahead. And then for you as an agent, keep it on top of your mind, every client, every day. If you ask enough people enough times, I promise you, you're going to do business with National Guardian Life. So what we use in our business, we use what's called a guide for beneficiaries. IAMS has asked us to make this available to every agent who becomes licensed with National Guardian Life. So they put it in a file format so that you can customize it to your company. But what we did with this is we used it for collecting new data from the clients, so we get all of their updated financial information when we use this guide, and then we will make suggestions to them based on that information. It's amazing. You think you know everything about your clients. When you go through this guide, you will uncover assets that you did not know they had. And then our successes, when we ended up doing this, our first year of using this guide, we picked up an additional $1.5 million in in annuity premium. We picked up a couple $100,000 in a traditional single premium life and about $150,000 with National Guardian Life. And again, it's not because we're the smartest group in the world. It's just we know that practice makes perfect, and if we continue to ask people and provide solutions, that we're going to make sales. So here's what it looks like. Our clients, when we gave this to them, they were so thankful because they now knew that their kids would have help if something happened to them. And the reason we did it as well is we want those kids to call us because we want those kids to become our clients. We know there's going to be estate planning that needs to be done and things that need to be settled and claims that need to be filed. And when you step up in that situation and help that family, you'll find that you'll pick up new assets in the process. So this is what the front of it looks like. Obviously, ours says Inting Financial Services. If you go to the next page more for me here, Mark. This is what the personal and financial organizer looks like. So we're just reconfirming all of their information. We're getting all of their children's names, all of their information, because all the work you've done in that house, you would like to work with the kids if something happens to the parents. So if we go on to the next page, I believe it is, Mark. One more. There we go. If you look at question 8 there, we have it right on the form. Have you prepaid your funeral? It's a yes or no question. If they tell us yes, then our next questions to them is going to be, do you have any assets that you don't want to get lost to a nursing home that you would like to go to a specific person? That allows us to talk about the estate planning trust. But if they tell us no, we're certainly going to come back to that and address that with the client and get them a irrevocable funeral trust in place. So, Mark, in closing, the one thing that I would like to say to everybody out there is National Guardian Life has a terrific, I can't, the name of it's escaping me, but what happens is it's a guide for the client's family, and the client is going to put in there everything I didn't know about my dad, his mother's maiden name, his highest rank in the military, favorite flower, favorite hymn, what funeral home he'd like to be buried at. All of that stuff is in that. So you can tell the client, once we get your irrevocable funeral trust back, we're going to put it inside of this guide. And if something happens to you, if I had never met you before, I could walk in and pick up that guide and that contract and go take care of your funeral for you without ever have met you, because that's how detailed it is. So I'd like to thank everybody that's been listening to me today. If you have any questions, you can certainly shoot them to Mark, and we'll try to get them answered for you.
Okay. Thanks, John. That was great. So the couple different things here you notice, I just put up a quick poll. If you're interested in getting appointed with National Guardian Life, just mark yes. I'll email the contact over to you, and we'll go ahead and we'll address some questions. And then I do have one last poll I'll pull up here in just a minute. So first question, John, is there a PowerPoint presentation to assist with meetings?
Yes, there is. Once you're contracted with National Guardian Life, on their website, they do have a prospect-friendly PowerPoint presentation that helps you walk right through it.
Okay. Are phone interviews required by NGL with the prospect?
They are not. It is just an application. Like I said, it's the 2 pages, your state replacement form, and then they're going to get the policy issued with you, turned around, and your commissions are usually in your account within 72 hours.
Excellent. Okay, so folks, I'm going to close this poll here real quick, and I'm going to go on to some other questions that are in there. So hopefully everybody's had a chance to mark down that they're interested in getting a contract. And, you know, if you change your mind, I see some of you have said no, but if you change your mind and you want one, all you got to do is just give us a call here and we'll get one over to you. So one last thing, obviously we want to make sure that we don't miss the opportunity to talk to you about IAMS Wealth Management. So I'm going to launch that real quick too. If you want to know more, if you want to visit with Charles about the IAMS Wealth Management, just mark yes, and I'll have him give you a call as well. So next question is, worst case scenario, what happens if someone dies and there is absolutely no money for final expenses?
So I imagine the question is I guess the question, I would need a little more clarification. If you're saying if they just don't have any money, they die destitute, then, you know, I guess there's a state program or whatever benefit they would get from Social Security, that $250, and they would have to figure that out. If I'm hearing the question correctly, I think that's what they're asking.
Yeah, and this is something that I've seen when I was in the field is you talk to the survivors, and unfortunately what happens a lot of times, Farrah, is that the family passes a hat. And I certainly, I don't think there's any person that passes away wants to pass that burden on to the kids, but I've seen that happen. And so that's one thing about this, is it makes sure, as John has mentioned a few different times here, is that when they pass away, that there are some funds to make sure that they can be buried with some dignity and not have the kids be responsible for passing the hat to pay for the funeral. So that can happen. All right, another question here from John. Is the NGL life insurance the only life insurance that can be placed in the funeral trust?
Yes. If you were to do a traditional life insurance plan and you wanted to get it into a trust like this, you're going to have to go to an elder law attorney. And I can tell you, I work with one who sends me clients. They're not inexpensive to get done. So as far as if I'm answering the question correctly, no, it would only be the AssetGuard sold through National Guardian Life.
Okay. All right. So, John, I see that the question box is empty. It looks like a number of you have requested some further information and contact on the IAMS Wealth Management, so I do appreciate that. Of course, if you have any other questions here, let's get those in the question box real quick here while we have John's help. And, one thing I want to let you know, too, is if you do have any questions on this, I can certainly help, or anyone in life marketing. We work with this product on a daily basis. And it's pretty exciting to see how great the growth has been in offering this product. Every year, every month, we continue to see the interest in the business go up. So once you start selling it, I think it just becomes a great habit. As John mentioned, to mention to every client, keep it top of mind. And one thing I will say for those of you that get contract with National Guardian Life, we do have a second webinar that we host. We'll do that in May sometime. But what we do is John goes through his presentation, tells you how to handle objections, some of the most common objections that you see. And when agents attend that, it's amazing the amount of business that we see that comes in after it. That's because of the fact that obviously there's a lot of questions. There's some things that John can help you to simplify the sales process. So I would encourage you, obviously, get contracted, attend one of these webinars, and it'll definitely be a help for you. So, John, a question here is the final expense policy competitive? And one more time, what is the advantage of putting it into the trust?
So when you say competitive, you can go buy a single premium life policy, say for $15,000, a traditional one, and you may get $22,000 of death benefit immediately. The problem with that is the cash that's in there is now open to a nursing home spend down situation. With the National Guardian Life, you won't get that big bump up in the face amount. So if you put $15,000, you may start at $15,250, but it will grow with a growth rate attached to it inside the contract. And by putting it into the trust, you've now insulated that money from any type of a nursing home spend down situation. If you spent every other dime you had because you needed nursing care, you could be assured the money to take care of your final expenses is going to be protected.
Okay. All right, another question. How do I get to view John's presentation webinar? On the sales one, what you need to do is get contracted in order to attend that particular webinar. So this is for contracted agents only with IAMS, that is. So, Antonio, I'd encourage you to get contracted if you're not already. I put that contracting back up there, so I believe it's showing right now. Otherwise, if not, just call our office. We can get you the contract and get you set up. But generally what we do is we'll have a webinar like this, and then 2 weeks later we will have the presentation webinar. But this month is not scheduled. We do or will have one in May for you. So I would encourage you to get contracted, and then we'll get you an invitation for that. Okay. John, looks like the question box is empty. So again, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, and thank you all for joining us this morning.
Well, thank you, Mark. And I will say anybody that goes out to the IAMS Academy, again, I do this presentation out there, and that also gives you, an opportunity to pull me aside and ask me any additional questions. Obviously, questions come up. But first and foremost today, thank you for taking your time out of your business. I hope everybody has a blessed holiday weekend, and I will talk to you at the training.
Sounds great. Everybody have a great Easter weekend, and we'll be in touch with you here over the next few days, calling you and asking and answering any questions that you might have. So, again, thank you so much for your time. We'll be in touch shortly. Thanks.